empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight.
Yes, people, welcome back, and we are actually back. Well, live. I mean, the last video we did was decent, but it obviously wasn't live. But we are actually live, and we have got so much to talk about, and I mean, just so much. I mean, we've got United, of course, because they're feeling ill. You've got, Mauricio Pochettino. That's come back into the limelight. Cannot wait to talk about that one. You get rid of one manager, bring in another. Look like you're going to get rid of him, get another one in. Sounds like a great idea. For the first time ever, I can sit here as an Argyle fan saying we have better midfield and manager, possibly even centre-backs. But we're also going to talk about Chelsea and how Conte and Thomas Tuchel look like they're about to reenact WWE on the touchline, which was fairly amusing. That is a fight I would pay good money to watch, by the way, because Conte is an absolute beast, and Tuchel proved yesterday that man ain't taking no shit. So we've got that to talk about as well. And then, of course, we're going to have a little bit of a roundup of the games. We are waiting for Charl. Charl being Charl is going to decide to turn up whenever she feels like it. So that is what is it. Let's kick off with some comments before we reduce RJ to some pain. Big up to Ravi, who says big up the channel and chat will forever be goated. Big up POTUS is the way. Way up and down. Is Niall going to be back? I am back indeed. Great to see everyone back, but Family Club, you're actually starting to annoy me. Yes, we will, of course, keep that updated, which is currently 1-0 Palace, isn't it? Looks like City have won the league already. End of stream there. There you go. We've just announced the Premier League winners. Congratulations to Manchester City and Pep Guardiola for winning with probably 120 points or some shit like that. Mustafa, obviously, back in with the fight me. I mean, I don't know how Mustafa's on loan at Juventus. Makes sense. Does make sense. Nunes, you don't want to score. Can't say nothing. Yeah, I might have to take him out my FPL. Big up to Coach's Corner, who says Sue. Big up, Rabbi. Up the Chelsea. Yes, Coach's Corner is a Chelsea fan. Aaron says, no, fancy me coming on for a reunion, mate. Maybe later. You never know. We might let guests on later. You never know. Bring on Cater Club, sub off Milner. Is Milner started? He hasn't. He did. But Milner's like 75 years old. I mean, okay. Big up to Charlie, who sent in a lovely donation there. Are you back for good? Yes, I believe so. We are slowly. It might be a bit erratic in terms of scheduling for the next few weeks, whilst we get into plan what we're going to do. But I'm going to host a show once a week, maybe twice a week. You never know. RJ and Matt are going to do some really good content on a different sport because neither of them want really to talk about football. I know Russ has got some really exciting sort of games, quizzes, and all of the fun stuff. And then Charl will do something as well, I'm sure. Mustafa, he's deglued. Well, hello, strangers. Hello, Chris. And Luke is happy. Arsenal. 11 likes already. We are. Massive. Yes, please do hit that like button and subscribe. Unsurprisingly, through our hiatus, we haven't actually lost that many subscribers. So if you could contribute to that, that would be amazing. Mustafa might have to pitch invade next week. Indeed. The viewers wanting the channel are now back for good. Take that. I broke my desk. No. Oh dear. Right, let's start because that's far too much of me talking, because I want to subject RJ to some real emotional pain. Now, RJ, I don't know where to start with this. We could talk about your transfer window, we could talk about your manager, and we could talk about the stories, but let's just start with the game, because I feel like we need to get some sort of order here. And I don't think that's going to help you much more, because let's talk about that first goal, shall we? Because, look, I get a lot of the time, players make mistakes, but David De Gea has made far too many mistakes and far too regular, and your best goalkeeper is currently saving penalties for Nottingham Forest. So please talk to me about the first goal, and we'll do it goal by goal. And also Charles back.
Yes, man.
Nunes, there is no way. There's no way he's been sent off, has he? There's no way.
Oh,
Nunes
no, he actually has. No, he actually's got a red card. He head-butted literally the Crystal Palace captain. The Crystal Palace captain pushed Nunez in the back. Nunez then retaliates by going head-butting.
Oh,
and it's a red fucking card. It's fucking shambles.
So as we work out, the City.
What a great way to start your Liverpool career at your first home game of the season with a red card.
Yeah, it is.
Well, that was a headbutt and a half as well. That wasn't like a little football touch. That wasn't like, they usually have the little.
Hold on.
That is actually his first game. That's his first game at Anfield. I've just realised.
Yeah, that's fine. I just stated that. I just fucking stated that.
We're not trying to fight people on the way off the pitch, and Klopp's telling him, "Get off, get off."
I've no words. I don't think he's going to start the next game, and I think I'm going to take him out of my FPL. I think I might go for Jesus or something.
I didn't even put him in. Thank God.
Yeah, I put Haaland and Nunes in, didn't I? So I've done really well this week. But as I said, let's start with the first goal, RJ. Mistakes happen, but my goodness, that is a mistake and a half. And how we've just got 35 viewers, I do not know. But please do hit that like button and subscribe. RJ, first goal, De Gea. I remember him doing this actually a couple of years ago, if I remember correctly. He used to do it quite regularly. But what's your thoughts?
Maybe Andrew. I don't know what to say. Just messed up really for the first.
We can talk about the second goal if you want. I believe that is also another David De Gea mistake.
With all respect, can we just move away from the topic?
I'm sorry to drop you in it here, but I just want to point out to everyone that we have a group chat of RJ has been a staunch defender of David De Gea, and I'd love to hear some of the thoughts behind this continued defence of one of the best goalkeepers in the league,
especially when he's been having 1 minute, especially when he's been literally trying to bulldoze Dean Henderson, and man's out there saving penalties for Forest. Like RJ, we do need a response to David De Gea recently, because it's not just these two goals either. It's Brighton and his lack of command of the box, not coming out to get crosses, not being able to play out from the back. These are all valid things that you do need to deal with.
That you've justified in the group chat that he is good at. You've justified they're good, and we have the screenshots to prove it. Like, we've got messages to prove,
All right. Well, first of all, fuck Russ and Charl. People too. Second of all, look, the thing is, he's made mistakes. Let's be real. It can happen.
Well, yeah, but these aren't just one. Like, if it was one mistake, I'd get you, RJ. But these are like
what I will say is that yes, he had a very bad game. That's sure, right? The only thing I will say that was slightly positive from it was that he came in after the match into the interview saying that he was wrong. That's the most amount of character we've ever seen from that squad.
I could play shit football every week and then go on TV and say I was shit.
Yeah. I mean,
that doesn't cut it in a Premier League team anymore, does it? You can put me in the fucking Chelsea front line. I could score no goals, but I could come on the interview afterwards and apologise every week if that's good enough.
The thing is, like, if we think about this logically, the standards of United need to be a bit more than I was a bit shit out there, wasn't I, lads?
I mean, the captain is Harry Maguire.
Because if you want, I'm more than happy to sit in goal. I mean, I'm big enough. I've lost a fair bit of weight, but I'm still big enough to sit in a goal and probably catch that ball. You know, and for example, the second one, I'm probably kicking that out for a throw-in or passing it to my right back. But you know, probably not to Eriksen, who's literally got a man behind him as well. I mean, come on.
For £375,000 a week, I will take the blame for whatever. I'll take all the blame.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll even put a United shirt on for 375 grand a week. It's a lot, but it's tough. I mean, it's okay, Archie. We're not finished with you just yet.
Oh, I know. I'm ready for this torturing against me.
I hope so.
I think overall, I mean, the transfer window's been a joke. I think.
Don't worry, we're gonna get onto that. Don't you worry about that.
I know.
We need to focus on the match first because we need to have some sort of consistency here. Third goal. Now, by this point, I was in hysterical laughter because if I go through the emotions I had of the game, first goal I was like, this looks like it could be a decent game. Second goal, I'm like, I'm enjoying my Saturday night. Third goal, I'm in hysterical laughter by now. Fourth goal, I'm sorry, I'm pissing myself with laughter. I'm like, this team is comical. The third goal, I don't even remember how the third goal was scored. Was that the corner? Was that the corner?
Yeah,
that was the corner where De Gea was just sort of running backwards and forwards down his goal line.
Yeah, and you've got your like 3'2" defender man marking Ben Mee. Because that makes sense.
You say man marking, but I'd use that term very loosely.
Yeah, can you even use the word man with Martinez?
Leg marking?
More like
waist marking?
I mean, these are all very valid points. RJ, do you want to talk about Martinez's defending or lack of defending?
I'll just say this now. I don't know why he's a centre back. He should be a fucking CDM. We're 4-0 down. He brings on fucking McTominay, man. Guy who's centre back.
That's a game changer right there.
No, that's literally entertainment.
But RJ has linked me in quite nicely for something we do need to talk about in a minute. I mean, but I do need to go through.
Glad Pogba's gone because he'd have had a red card after the first three easily.
Mate, he would have been snapping people in half.
He'd probably just walked up and just kicked the ref and then just walked off the pitch.
He would have done what he did with Ice 1-1. Luis Diaz has scored. Luis Diaz has scored.
Can I just point out there's more points for my FPL, by the way?
I don't have Diaz in my team. Nunes, lucky I'm not manager. I would drag him off, say it nicely. Actually, I would strangle him. What an idiotic move. It sort of may have helped a bit, judging from the scoreline anyway. We have no strikers. They're all injured, neither do United. As an honest Man United fan, I'm sickened by our club's pathetic downfall. Retiring from football, I'm now an F1 fan. Makes sense. Mostly everyone is injured at Liverpool. Get some of them asthma inhalers or something. They normally help. Fluky pen. I don't know what you're on about. Oh, the Henderson one. Yeah, okay. De Gea and Henderson. Both crap. No idea. Mostly everyone at Liverpool, apparently, according to Chris. If you want my advice, Dylan, don't support Ferrari and F1 because they're basically that as someone who has avidly watched Formula One, I can agree with that. And also, I
can also second that.
Huge thanks to Pete, who's also sent in a lovely super sticker. I know, Chris, I don't really support a team, but Ferrari are last on my list for having worse strategic decisions than Richard Arnold and Edward. Yes, Diaz. Don't order Gea for saying he was shit. Couldn't care less. You decided to score after a red. Big up to Max. I'm disgusted by stream be unmodding myself. Okie dokie. Spent 60 million on a guy who can jump. Who's coming there? That's Buller fucking me. I'm done.
And that is the end of the sprint.
And that is the comment. That's the comment. Hasbulla is now.
Ended it all.
Brentford stung United, and United are bottom of the league. Well, we are talking about the birds and the bees for United, and Chelsea let the lead slip against Spurs. We will talk about that.
RJ, fuck off, Rabbi, you absolute prick.
Don't bite. Don't bite.
Just want to also say, Charl, we are monetized, so if you could keep the swearing to a limit, just, sometimes, which I know is very difficult for Charl, by the way. But RJ, 4th goal. This might even be worse than pulling out teeth for him. But RJ, that 4th goal, by this point, you've already lost the game. But you must have been delighted that Luke Shaw was able to track his runner back. Not tackle him, just keep with him. At least he shows that he's not completely useless.
I'm thankful some of the messages I put in the group chat do not go public, thankfully.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think, I don't think Luke Shaw would like the comments I've just made about that. But, regardless of that, it just shows that Malacia has to start next game. I don't care if it's Liverpool. He's a way better defender when he came on, especially after halftime. He made such an improvement. A lot faster, a lot skinnier as well, and just in general, such a better player. So, yeah, that's how I'd comment on Luke Shaw.
RJ, were you in the large group of Manchester United supporters like a year or two ago who told everyone that Luke Shaw was the best left back in the Premier League?
Nope,
wasn't just one season.
I seem to remember there was like a strong core of Man United supporters who were really pushing that agenda.
I think it was Matt. I think you're confusing me with Matt. I think. Yeah.
Oh no, I think you both did. But let's go through some more comments before we talk more generally, because there's been a fair bit of news. We need to talk about James Garner because that decision makes no sense. We need to talk McTominay. We need to talk Ronaldo. We need to talk Ten Hag, Pochettino, Rabiot, Arnautovic. Is he still joining? I don't know. But Luke says 167 viewers. This is genuinely incredible. Our first live stream back, and we are smashing it. Do hit that like button though, and share it as well. Also, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, because we've got plenty more content coming. Okay, cool. 250. We are growing. United are in the mud big time, but I, like everyone, has to give credit to Brentford. Didn't show mercy against weak United side. Well-run club pulled them apart. Actually, and I'll get Russ and Charl to talk about this, because whilst we can talk about how appalling and shocking United were in pretty much every area of the pitch, including in bed, we do need to talk about Brentford, because United were poor, but Brentford were something else. And we talk about this second season syndrome. We saw it with Sheffield United. It's very much a thing that we do know can happen. Do you think that Brentford's togetherness and the clear ability of Thomas Frank to set up a team who knows how to press, who's willing to run, who's willing to work hard for the badge, do you think Brentford are going to survive? And how well do you think they could do? And Russ, do you want to start us off on that one?
I think, it's all good and fun to laugh at Man United and how terrible they are. But, you have to give them credit. I think Thomas Frank's doing a brilliant job, to be honest with you. I mean, last season, I think they probably deserved to be higher up the table than they were, to be honest with you. I think they got quite unlucky in a few of their games last season, but you could see that, they're set up to, like you say, to press teams, and he does a great job of setting them up for their opponents. And the first half an hour against Man United proved that. They picked them apart. And okay, you can say, David De Gea was awful, and he was. It was most of the goals he conceded in that game were pretty terrible. But Brentford pushed, and they didn't let up, and they took United for everything they could in that opening 35 minutes.
Oh yeah, and even with the mistakes from De Gea, they still go on to win that game because they were just so relentless in their pressing.
Well, exactly.
They probably also
change.
they've probably also pissed off United, because they've now also shown every other team how to set up against United, because United are a team that refuses to run, refuses to work hard, and Brentford just really tore them apart and really just showed that they can fight. And I think Brentford might actually have a good chance of having a good season. You know, I think there were a lot worse teams in the league than Brentford.
I think the players are on just opposite ends of the scale in terms of, you know, how much they want to give for their team. Yeah. And we've seen it for so many years at Man United now. And there's always a lot of talk around Man United, but nothing changes. You can chop and change the managers as much as you like. You can lose one or two players here and one or two players there, and bring in a new. You know, it was said last year. You know, they need a serious just clear out, like a serious clear out. You know, Ragnick said they needed 10 new players last season, and he was right. I think, you know, anyone who watches this team can see that he was right. You know, the one thing this club needs is a good clear out from top to bottom, to be honest with you. And I think the Man United fans are right. It starts with the Glazers. You know, when you have owners that don't show ambition, and the only money that gets spent in that club is the money that is pouring in from supporters and TV revenues, you know, they're not winning things to earn money, and there's no extra input from the owners. You know, I think that's a big difference. Okay, they spend a lot of money, and I know that is an argument. People say, well, they do still spend a lot of money. They do still spend a lot of money, but all of that pretty much is earned money. There's no extra being pumped in from the owners, and it's at times like this where your team is at the lowest of the low. This is when an owner does need to step in and say, right, we need to have a serious window where we maybe spend £300 million and we clear this squad out, and we start with, you know, fresh, basically. Yeah. I mean, they've got rid of Pogba, which I think is a good thing for that side. Yeah. You know, he's a fantastic, don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic player, and he's clearly got bundles of talent. But there was hardly any effort there at Man United. And at the same time, can you blame him when, you know, the shit show that was surrounding him? I don't think many players are inclined to put in too much effort. And I think the culture around Man United sort of just, that whole culture is there of just low effort, and players just, we'll just sort of trundle through the season, collect our paycheck. You know, you look at old Man United teams, you know, they all played for the badge with a lot of passion, and look what they won, you know.
I mean,
culture of United is gone.
Is it? And Charl, you can do this. And it's probably game over for the Glazers now. I don't think there's any way of coming back from this. But do you think that the Glazers could have been successful at United? Because even if, and as Russ just alluded to, even though all of the money they've spent has been self-generated and they've still took money out, they've still spent over £1 billion. So could they not have been successful if they had just gone, look, Ed Woodward is a fantastic guy at making us money. He can turn water into a £5 note. I genuinely believe that. His sponsorship deals, the stuff he was doing behind the scenes, the generating of cash, that was good. He was very good at that. Couldn't argue with it. But do you think that if they had put him with a director of football, someone who understands football, they could have worked together? You got Ed Woodward making all of the money. United fans would be like, have you seen Ed Woodward? Yeah, this man, he's just absolutely taking the piss out of you all. He's just making money left, right, and centre. Oh, here's a director of football who's actually spending that money in a wise move. Because I bet you, if they do that, they're not spending £1 billion because you don't need to. If you have the right setup with the right players and the right recruitment and the right youth academy, I think the Glazers could have been successful at United.
I mean, so for me, I have quite a little controversial opinion on this. So I know people don't like the Glazers, but like, they did what the United fans asked. Got rid of Pogba, got rid of Woodward, got rid of a couple of other players. Like, they did what the fans have asked.
Never replaced them, though.
No. I get they didn't replace them, but they did do what they asked. For me personally, I'm going to say this. Getting rid of Ralph was probably a dumb idea because he has done better than Ten Hag in the first 2 games. And he came in... But he came in halfway. Ralph came in halfway through a season, no training, no 6 weeks of pushing it, no 6 weeks of training, no nothing.
Yeah.
He literally came in halfway through a season and bang and did a good job temporarily.
That's not why they, and that's what. But just quickly on that one, they didn't even hire him to do that. The whole caretaker manager was nice. It was needed because they needed someone. They actually brought him in for this specific window. But it was when he started mentioning this team needs 10 players, we need 8 or 10 players. That's when the hierarchy at United were like, I'm sorry, but no, we don't. This is an amazing team. What are you talking about? You're fired.
I completely get, but for me personally, Manchester United have been on this downfall since Alex Ferguson left. But I for me, and I remember seeing interviews about this, like Rooney interviewing and Ronaldo being like, if you messed up in a game, Ferguson was in there and it was punishment, you were fined, you were whatever. Like there wasn't any leeway. And I feel like a lot of these players.
But half the time, Fergie didn't need to do that because he had the leaders in the dressing room. If you're not performing, you've got Roy Keane in there who's about to kick 10 bells of crap out of you. You've got Giggsy, who I know is going through a lot now, but as a footballer and as a leader, he was very good. You've got Paul Scholes. They all knew what Fergie was about. Yeah. So Fergie didn't even have to go in heavy. He could just let the rest of the team deal with it.
I think also when you have Harry Maguire as your captain, I think that says it all for you. For me, if you're looking at the game that was played on Saturday, Ronaldo showed more captaincy screaming at the other players than Maguire has in his whole captaincy forever. And I'm not saying make Ronaldo captain, but for me, you need some sort of leadership on the pitch. And right now, a fridge freezer isn't leadership at all. As for the Glazers, I don't think United are going to be happy. United fans are going to be happy until the Glazers have gone, and maybe it is time for them to go. But I think, when you come in with debt as it is to a club, and maybe not handling it in the right way, for me, Ed Woodward was not really that useful, to be honest.
I disagree.
I meant towards the end he wasn't. Like, I think because of the breakdown in the relationship.
But he still but just before he left, he still signed a new sponsorship deal. He still made a load of money. He wasn't.
But I think if he'd have been given more leeway, I think things could have been different. If he'd have been given, if Edward had been given,
he was literally doing the transfers himself.
No. I meant money-wise. I don't mean like actual, like, I'm talking money-wise, not anything else, because Ed Woodward did some great transfers. It was just the principle of the Glazers are so tight and stingy on their money, and they don't see the bigger picture. They never see the bigger picture. Which
I disagree. I do, because they've still spent over £1 billion. They've still spent over £1 billion.
No,
they can't be stingy when you're whacking out. They've got the most expensive squad in the Premier League.
Yeah, but they buy short-term players. It's not like
that's not down to the Glazers. That's down to whoever's picking the players. I can't imagine Avram Grant or Joel Glazer. Actually, maybe more Joel Glazer might, but I can't imagine the Glazers go get Ibrahimovic or go get Paul Pogba Schneiderlin.
I get that, but I just think that for me, there's a combination of why Manchester United failed. And if we're looking at it, and it's a triangle or like a pyramid, whatever, it starts at the top. It starts at the top with the Glazers. Then it works its way down. And that negative energy and that negative attitude works its way down until it hits the players. And I'm not excusing those players, because those players, sorry, they need to, their mums need to smack them one, because, sorry.
Okay, we'll leave it there for the abuse of the United players. We've still got more, and we'll talk to Matt in a moment. Nunes with a red, indeed, looking skinny pal. I know I've been working on myself whilst I've been away. Edward Wood should have been put into a managing director executive role, not the CEO or head of transfers. He's a banker, and it rhymes with banker. But the thing is, you could have kept him as CEO. Because as CEO, what's he to do? make a load of money and sign off on some players. But he shouldn't have been picking the players though. That's what your scouting department's for. That's what your director of football would do. He would just have to put his signature on the bottom of it, going, "Yes, I approve of this. Let's go get him," and have football people telling him what to go and get. Somebody is on a budget. We're not. Charl, they wanted to keep Pogba. They have not done what we've asked. Woodward was good with commercial, but atrocious with players. They needed a proper director of football. I think we all agree with that, don't we? Ragnick called out the Glazers, insisting we needed 10 players out of 10 players in, so he couldn't handle the truth. Sacked him off. Narcissistic rats. Players like Bruno and Ronaldo should have been blamed more, not Sancho. They have been rubbish. I mean, I think they've all been pretty atrocious, haven't they? Bruno, yes, not Ronaldo. Free Ronaldo from trenches. These players ruined his legacy with the last 2 years. Well, we will talk a lot about Ronaldo in a moment because I'm sure you're not aware. Well, I'm sure you are aware of the news coming out about that and. Lots. What did Chelsea do? They bought £100 million player, didn't even play. Lukaku, biggest flop in the Premier League history. Do you know what? I don't think you can argue that too much. Not even Charl, I don't think, can argue with Lukaku being one of the biggest flops in the Premier League. Love when Chelsea fans try to give. when they try. In the first place. Chelsea playing Kai Havertz up front as a 9. Good luck with that. Do you know what? Kai Havertz is a fantastic player, but he's not a striker. If you had watched Kai Havertz in his entire career, he is not a false nine.
I watched
because if you look at when he was at was it Bayer Leverkusen or wherever, he actually was a cam. He's a central attacking midfielder. That is what he is. He is someone who will get you assists and he will come up with the odd goal, but you cannot rely on Kai Havertz to go get you 20 goals. But we will talk about Kai Havertz in a second because we do need to just box off United very quickly. And there's so much to talk about. Okay, is United.
I'll break it down.
But it's okay because we're not going to talk about the game because we can analyse that game, but we've all seen know what the issues are. But let's talk about so far your window. Because you brought in Christian Eriksen, you brought in that Malcia guy, whatever, Masia, that's one, and you brought in Martinez. You haven't got Frankie de Jong yet, and he doesn't fix all of your problems. He makes a big impact, but he doesn't fix them all. You're looking at Rabiot, worse than McTominay in the French league, and that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say that Scott McTominay has better stats in the Premier League than Rabiot in the French league. That just leaving that there. We're just going to leave that there. You're literally getting someone worse than McTominay. Didn't think that was possible, but you're doing it. James Garner, and I want to talk about this one first because no one's talking about this, and this is the bit that I do not understand because I'm really confused about this. Because I watched James Garner play for Forest a lot last season, and I thought he was superb. I thought he was fantastic. And I went, and I literally said, and you all remember this in the group chat, when James Garner has to start for United next season, he has to be given a chance. He's better than McTominay. He's better than Fred. And don't even get me started on Christian Eriksen playing DM. But James Garner, Manchester United are apparently, and this is a Ten Hag decision, because Ten Hag has said, I'm not going to use James Garner. So 3 decisions, in my opinion, he's made. He's brought in a 3-foot centre-back. He's brought in Christian Eriksen to play central defensive midfield. And he's looking at signing this. He's looking at getting rid of James Garner. RJ, he's a Manc born and bred. So surely he starts for United, doesn't he? I mean, if we're using the logic of United recently, Manc born and bred should be starting, although McTominay's not Manc born and bred, is he? So maybe it's the ones who come through the youth academy who aren't from Manchester that get this whole weird thing. Because Brandon is also Manc born and bred, but you don't get to see him. And to be fair, he's probably better than Luke Shaw now, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, fucking Russ is probably better than the two of them. Let's be real, but no, about Garner, like I said, I've been repping this guy for the last year. To be fair, as well, ever since watching him at Forest, great little player. Obviously, like I say, he does have the height disadvantage, but I mean, realistically, that shouldn't be a problem with his technical ability. He's a phenomenal player. Last season, he knocked out Arsenal and Leicester with the help.
He played well against Arsenal as well. That was one of his best games, and I know that Arsenal team didn't perform great, but Garner, for me, ran that midfield. He had a fantastic game.
I agree with that. I think, yeah, look, there has to be a lot of issues, from our transfer window especially. We definitely need a few more midfielders. We definitely need a few more midfielders. Obviously, like I said, we have a few wingers that we just don't use. I don't understand why he's not using them. Because, like I said, if Rashford or Sancho are not playing well, we have Diallo, who, let's be real, could definitely play a good game if he wanted to. We have,
struggled in the Scottish League.
I don't really care, to be fair. It's Rangers, Glasgow's green and white, boys. Simple as that, boys.
Best team in Scotland. You couldn't even perform for the best team in Scotland.
Celtic are the best team, and they will always be the best team. Simple as that. And we're not talking about Celtic. Anyway,
Who won the league last season?
Celtic.
Did they? I thought it was Rangers.
Yes. Unlucky.
That shows how much attention I pay to the Scottish League. Rangers won the season before. I think it's because Rangers got to the Europa League final. I just automatically thought they had just won the SPFL.
Because they bet Dortmund because Haaland was injured and they said she were shy. But anyway, about the thing, right? I just want to bring up the fact that the Glazers, right? They put no money into the club since joining the club, right? Not one penny has gone into it. They have used every bit of money that they have, that they have gotten from the revenue, from us, from brand deals, from sponsors, whatever the hell, into the club. They take so much dividends, and I believe Matt was saying in the chat there, they take more dividends out of any owner in the Premier League, which is insane, right? Yeah. They're not investing. Yeah. They have pretty much, executives and businessmen running the club instead of people who actually know a thing about football. John Marto, let's be real, he's not going to be the best at football. And like I said, if we really want to do something, right, and this I said last year, if I remember, you were there, I think. I said the only person we should bring in with the footballing brain, who knows this club inside out, knows how to properly run a football club, is Van der Sar. He's working at Ajax right now, doing a phenomenal job. He brings in young talent every single year, develops them, then they sell for a huge profit every single year. He's a former legend, and he would definitely come back. I definitely would say if
he's already got that relationship with Ten Hag, hasn't he? Because obviously Ten Hag, coming from Ajax, knows Edwin very well. Edwin knows the types of players that Ten Hag will want, and I do think having someone like Edwin van der Sar, who is, very well respected in football. He's, I think even Chelsea fans will probably say Edwin van der Sar is probably in the top 3 of best goalkeepers in the Premier League that we've ever seen. I mean, but for me, bringing in Edwin van der Sar would make total logical sense. That's exactly why you won't go and get Edwin van der Sar, because it makes total logical sense. But to be fair, being United this shit is quite good for Football Manager saves if you want to ever rebuild a club. So if you ever want to rebuild, yeah, I've done that one a couple of times. But Garner's one thing. I mean, Russ, Charl, do either of you have anything to add on the Garner thing? Have you watched him play enough to?
I've watched him quite a few times, to be honest with you, and every time I have, the first thing that I think is, why does this kid not get used more? Because he's better than half the midfielders that they do use week in, week out. How can you have someone like James Garner stuck in your development squad or your youth team or whatever they're doing with him, locking him in the cupboard during most weekends, and you're playing Scott McTominay? It makes no sense to me. You want to start bringing through younger players, well, start right there. He's a player that, with a bit more game time under his belt, he could really establish himself in the first team. And to me, I think it's wild that you've got players like McTominay who are taking spaces away from talented kids like him.
Because if you think about Arteta, and I think Arteta's done a fantastic job at Arsenal. If you look at the rebuild, he's brought through a lot of young players. He's brought in players that are hungry and want to play for the shirt. And I think United actually need to take a leaf out of Arsenal's book. And I actually say, in terms of Arsenal and United, I think United are a couple of years behind Arsenal in terms of where they are. Because you saw Arsenal's downfall where they didn't even qualify for Europe. I think United are about to go through that. I think United are about a season behind Arsenal. But I think Arsenal did the right thing for that season because they brought through the likes of Saka, they brought through the likes of Smith Rowe, and they brought players in who want to play for the shirt, and they've even been able to top that up this season by bringing in players like Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, who are massive players for Arsenal and will be massive for them in the future. And this is what I mean. United and Mustafa's put somewhere that our academy is crap. You can't say your academy is crap. Of course, you've got a player who's currently away from United. He definitely wasn't crap, but he's obviously got an attitude problem for sure. You've got James Garner, who I think is a baller. You've got Garnacho, who I do believe with a bit of work and a bit of sort of training with the right people. I think Garnacho's got a very bright future, and that's the thing. Charlie Savage, or I think that's his name. He looked very good in some of the games that I've seen him. You've got that is it Iqbal? You've got a lot of very good players who I actually think you should start utilising them this season. I think it would make a lot more sense. Also, big up to Uncle Laurie, by the way. Good to see you back, guys.
It doesn't help that you've got Chelsea and Arsenal who have brought through a lot of talent in the last few years, which obviously makes United look worse in that sense. We've brought through a lot of players, but it's not realistic for most academies to be able to bring through sort of this many players in one go, which obviously
but also
they're desperate for a change at United, so they want to see players brought through, and but I think like you said, the thing with Arsenal is as well, right? We were talking about this in our group chat the other day. I put up that lineup from 1 year ago compared to the one that they played the other day, and there was such a huge difference in personnel in the space of 1 year. And I think that is the big difference with Man United, though, is that they'll bring in 2 or 3 players at a time to try and quieten the fan base down, and it works. Yeah. Because they go, well, they brought us these 2 players that are really good, but it's not going to work. They need a clear out, and this is what I was saying earlier. It needs to be done in one go. Everything needs to just
take the hit. I mean,
you want to exactly. If you're not getting one season,
you're not getting Europe this season.
You're dreadful. Then so be it. If that's what it's going to take to start your club properly back on a real rebuild,
just make sure you keep enough players to not get relegated.
I agree with you, what you said about bringing in Van der Sar, but that needs to come in alongside other backroom staff and top level people need to be moved around, and you need a lot of signings. And you can sit there and argue, but we've got this player who's good and this player. Fair enough, you can keep a few of them players, but a lot of them need to go.
No, I do agree.
De Gea is on £375,000 a week. Now that's outrageous wages for a goalie in general, and for someone who is I'm sorry, RJ, I don't know, whatever you think about him, he is declining massively, and maybe it is time that they look at bringing someone new in, or someone like Henderson. They could get a goalkeeper like that and maybe bring him through, and that could be quite beneficial.
Don't need to. They had one.
If only they had a young goalkeeper like that could maybe learn from De Gea and slowly be introduced into the team as the first goalkeeper over the next couple of years. That could do them massive favours. But on the other hand, what you could do is you could just sell him.
I would. I don't even know where to begin, but we can talk about De Gea until we're blue in the face. I think we all know that he's not good enough.
But it's not just David De Gea, though. The problem with United is, right, they don't know how to cut their losses with a player. Now, you can say what you want about Chelsea and our shit signings. Me and Charl sat here last year and we said we didn't want Lukaku. Yeah. Okay? Well, we got him and whatever. But the difference is we cut our losses. £100 million. How many owners would take £100 million hit for the sake of their team? Yeah. Not many. But sometimes you have to be brutal in this game.
It's not about it. It's not about being friends or who you think might do good or something. It's about the facts, what actually happens, looking at the reality and realising that getting rid of Lukaku was probably the best thing that Chelsea have ever done. Again.
It's sometimes tough decisions need to be made, and those decisions aren't made at Man United. There's a lot of mollycoddling of players, and I don't see how it changes anytime soon, unless there's drastic changes made at the club.
Oh yeah. Well, I would say that. All right, I'll just finish on this. Right, this is what I'm saying. One thing that's wrong with this is the player power. They have too much power when it comes to it, and they can overwrite the manager who's supposed to have all the power. You have a person like Harry Maguire with no leadership experience whatsoever, never leaded anything with Leicester, never with England or with Coach. So,
in other news, Liverpool have not been able to beat Crystal Palace,
and we've just crowned the new champions of the Premier League. We will stop talking about it in a moment.
Yeah.
Just got to talk. Just got a manager thing to talk about, and then we can talk about punch up.
Have we talked about Chelsea yet?
They're next. We were waiting. We started on United because you were late, so you know.
Right.
Charles gonna kick.
Yeah,
We spent 45 minutes on United.
Yeah.
Just a quick one on this comment here that says, don't try to justify your club's disgraceful business, blah, blah. I never tried to justify the business. I clearly stated that it was a terrible signing. I didn't want him to begin with. And I said that, it was £100 million wasted. I'm not trying to justify my club's business. All I'm pointing out is that, we were ruthless enough to say, right, we'll cut our losses and get rid of him. Something that your club can't manage to do.
Yeah, and to be fair, if you'd have actually watched last season, you would any of the streams last season at the beginning of this last season, you would have seen me and Russ absolutely lose it at the fact that we didn't want him, we didn't justify having him, we both knew what would happen. So, if
I remember correctly, this one down here wanted a certain Harry Kane from Tottenham Hotspur, didn't she?
And I think he would have done.
I said Harry Kane and Haaland. If you're going to go out and spend 100, if you're going to spend 100 million plus, there was only two players. There was only two players that I was interested in at that price, and they are Harry Kane and Haaland. If you can't get them two, do not spend 100 million pound on a striker.
Yeah. I'm not sure where Noodlehead is, but I 1 second. Let's just so that we can box United completely off and stop talking about them and talk about some real clubs. Just quickly, the manager. There are reports, and take these with a pinch of salt. If I was being honest, that there are suggestions that Ten Hag might even be sacked as early as the first international break. Now, firstly, why we have an international break when we're going to win a Winter World Cup, I will never know, but that just goes down to FIFA not caring about player welfare. But Russ, Erik Ten Hag, I don't even know where to begin with this. I believe that he's a very good manager. And I believe that if you give him the right resources, he can get a very good team out of this team. We can all sit here and say he's not been backed. I think we can all agree that Erik Ten Hag right now has not been backed. Do you see a situation where maybe Ten Hag quits or United get rid of Ten Hag? Because there's now links that United are going to go and try and get Mauricio Pochettino, and we all know the love affair, and as I just say that, RJ drops, and we all know that United and their owners have had this massive love affair with Mauricio Pochettino for as long as I can remember. Do you think there's going to get to a stage where Erik Ten Hag either quits or is sacked? RJ, talk us through that one. There's reports from the Daily Express saying that Ten Hag may be sacked as early as first international break. I have said take them reports with a pinch of salt, because that would be a ridiculous thing to do. But do you see a position where Erik Ten Hag might be sitting here going, well, actually, hold up a bloody minute. I don't know what was promised, but if he was promised certain players or a certain thing or was promised that he would be backed, Do you see a situation where Ten Hag might go, actually, do you know what? You are a bunch of disgusting wankers and I want out. I quit. Do you think that Ten Hag could do that? Because his reputation's on the line. He's a 52-year-old coach, and that's sort of in the prime nowadays. You look at Pep, you look at Klopp, that 50s, 60s, that's your prime. Can Erik Ten Hag waste time at Manchester United?
It is a very tough one to call. Obviously, that will involve contract disputes and all that crack and whatever that's it. And we don't know what his contract says, what anyone's contract says, so we can only just guess here. But I think there's no way he went into discussions with the Glazers or whoever he was in discussions with and said, look, I'll do this for nothing or whatever the hell. There's definitely terms that he said, I'll come to this club if you give me A, B, and C or whatever the hell. Anyway, I think, whether he leaves, I don't know. Is it probably the best for him? More than likely, because let's be real, I'd be fucking sick of the place after 2 weeks here. Sorry, I'm a bit distracted, I'll be honest.
Like Bruno just literally sneezed in Charles' face. That's absolutely brilliant. Also, big up to Bruno. He's the mascot of the channel.
Clip that off, lads. Clip that off, will you, please?
Oh, for sure. Don't worry. That's going all over Twitter.
Oh my God, I'm actually
Get your comments in as well, guys. We want to interact with you as we do this. But RJ, just box it off quickly. Just your final thoughts on the Ten Hag thing, and then we can talk about Chelsea and Spurs.
I just feel bad for him. Like, everything's gone wrong for him. Realistically, he thought he'd probably get a good few transfers in. But
I think we all did. I think, normally when United don't qualify for Champions League and a new manager comes in, that's normally our best transfer window. Look at Ollie, you look at Jose, you look at Van Gaal. I mean, Moyes. There is precedent for United's best transfer window actually being their first transfer window, and Ten Hag has currently got Christian Eriksen for free and the others, but it's a tough one.
And look, realistically, the way it's going, it's not looking good. And look, I'd say just keep saying Glazers out, because one day we'll have someone who's rich enough to buy the club. But we'll just have to be.
I can do it, but I'll need to do it on a leveraged buyout, and I can't invest anything. But if it helps, I actually understand football, so I might actually be able to do that. So you want to step clear of the Glazers. Because all right, I like that. If you think about it, you do actually have a lot of money you generate yourself, so you don't really need a rich owner. So you could have just some poor wanker who understands football. It might actually be what you need. But that's enough of United. Let's move on. We've done 52 minutes of United. It's actually Niall. It's been 84 years.
Let's go for the hour next time.
Not quite been 84 years, but it is actually me for sure. And since West Ham last won a trophy. So what a competent owner for Manchester United. I would. But let's talk about Chelsea. Because as you'll see in the thumbnail, we had two pictures of two games. One of which was Spurs equalising, and the other one was Tuchel and Conte about to knock 10 bells of crap out of each other, which also, FYI, whoever broke up that fight, you are a disgrace to humanity and you should be ashamed of yourself. That should have been allowed to carry on. That would have been pay-per-view, and Sky would have probably put that on pay-per-view instantly. But Russ, Chelsea, yesterday, Spurs. Look, you dislike each other very much. And I think we all understand rivals. I mean, I get to face our rivals twice this season. I'm looking forward to that. RJ, maybe not so much looking forward to facing his rivals this season. But you, obviously, against Spurs, do not like each other. And I think that's well documented. But what did you think of the game? You dominated the game, especially the first half. We will talk about the referee decisions later. We won't get dragged into them just yet. Talk about the overall game, because I do think there are positives, but also I think Chelsea are just lacking one thing, and that is a number 9. Just a number 9. You could go get anyone. Genuinely, probably a number 9 in League 2. With the players you put around him, he probably gets you 20 goals a season, probably. But I don't know. You're missing that one key player, but yesterday's game, you dominated, but still on the end of what probably feels like a defeat.
I mean, the frustrating thing is that, we could probably go back 18 months and find us saying the exact same thing in another stream.
Yeah.
It's the same problem we've had for a long time. And while I do agree with a lot of what you said, the problem is we can't just stick any old striker in there, as we proved last season. It has to be the right type of player. What that right type of player is, I mean, it's just becoming a bit of a mystery at this point to me.
If you knew the answer to that, Russ, you'd be a millionaire by now. Because you'd also probably know the numbers to the lotto.
Whether or not Lukaku was as much of a Tuchel signing as the hierarchy at the time would have liked us to think, I'm not 100% convinced.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's the same story. It's been for a long time, isn't it? And that is the lack of clinical people up front, and I think it's going to continue to be a problem. The only lucky thing is that we actually seem to have defenders that know how to hit the net, and that's what sort of saved us a lot of the time last season as well.
Do you find yourself a little concerned that if you don't get that number 9, you might not actually get top 4? And I'm not doing that because I want to, slam Chelsea. I don't mind Chelsea, but you look at Arsenal; they've just got Gabriel Jesus, who will score them goals this season. I'm sure of it. Spurs have got Harry Kane. That man knows where the back of the net is. They've also got Son. Do you not fear that if you don't get a striker who can put the ball in the back of the net, you might not even get top 4? And then that's goodbye Tuchel. Although that with new owners, we don't know how their mentality is with that.
I think this is definitely going to be one of the tightest top 4 races we've seen in a few years, just because of the fact that Arsenal, like you say, and Spurs are looking at a lot better than they have done in the last few years. I mean, we pretty much managed without a striker last season. We had.
Yeah, but Spurs and Arsenal weren't that good last season. That's the issue.
But we still managed to grind out our results, and that was, with a £100 million lamppost. And I like Timo, but he missed a lot of chances. I like Kai, but he misses a lot of chances.
You know what? I'm just thinking, if you didn't even need to get Sterling. All you needed was a number 9 who could score goals and just have Werner and Havertz either side of him, because Werner could assist. And let's not joke about this. Werner knew how to assist for goals. I mean, he's very good at that. He couldn't score them, but he could certainly set them up.
I think he gets a lot of stick, and rightly so. I can't defend him to the end of the world, but I think the general attitude around him from a lot of Chelsea fans shows you what we think of him. And I think he was respected by a lot of our fans, mainly because of his attitude, his work ethic, and I think a lot of fans are quick to forget that the guy had like 45 goal contributions in 89 games for us. That could have been a hell of a lot worse. These are the same fans who will tell you that Callum Hudson-Odoi deserves to play week in, week out, who's scored 4 goals in the last 4 years. And yet they'll also tell you that, Timo Werner with a goal contribution once every 2 games isn't good enough. And of course, I can't sit here and say he is good enough and he deserved to start every game. But I don't think he was as bad as everyone made out. And I think, he added to our system the press and the runs, and he was still a helpful player for us to have. And I think that's partly why we had to go and get someone like Sterling, whether we knew already that Werner might be moving on this summer when we brought Sterling. I think it could have something to do with it.
Maybe.
And there's talk of Hudson-Odoi going on loan. There's talk of Ziyech possibly leaving permanently or on loan. So I can understand why Sterling was brought in. And I'm happy that we've got Broja coming into the squad. I think he needs to get more game time because there's a really great young player in there.
Yeah, for sure.
But we're being linked with players, and obviously the one at the moment is Aubameyang. And
just quickly before you go on to that, Laurie, obviously an Arsenal fan, has said Aubameyang is not the answer.
I have to kind of sort of agree with that, to be honest with you.
Whilst I agree with that, do you trust Tuchel? That is the question.
But this is I'm so torn on this because I look at Aubameyang and my instincts say fuck no.
Yeah.
Why would you bring this guy in? You know, he's got an attitude problem, as was proved at Arsenal. You know, and he was good in the Premier League for a while, but we saw a serious decline in his performances.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it's how much trust do you put in the manager? We know that Tuchel has a good relationship with him.
Yeah.
Whether or not Tuchel can turn that good relationship into hard work and actually get him firing again, you know, we know he's a dangerous player when he's on form.
Yeah.
You know, he won a Golden Boot with Arsenal.
Not even a good Arsenal team at that point.
No, and so you know we know he can score goals, but it all comes down to whether or not you can get the best out of him. Is the best still in there to get out of him at this point? I mean, I don't know. My instincts are that no, he's probably not the answer, and he's definitely not sort of a long-term solution.
No,
I think the prices were being quoted. Do you know what? If you can pick him up for 10, 15 million. Is he worth a punt? Sure, why not at that price?
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, obviously, you alluded that he has a very good relationship with Tuchel, obviously back to the Dortmund days, and I do wonder how much a relationship between a player and a manager affects things, because you know it's not the same, but I in the current job I'm in, my relationship with my previous manager wasn't great, my work ethic wasn't great. New manager comes in, I get on really well with her. Suddenly I'm working harder, and you can transform that into all forms of life, really. And it was similar to what I was saying in the group chat about the whole United and the whole actually sort of backing Gary Neville to a degree. But in terms of this, a relationship could be quite important. And Charl, that relationship between manager and player is for me still very important. And I think the proper manager knows how to get the best out of a certain player. Aubameyang probably wasn't suited to an Arteta-style manager who is demanding, who is going to scream at you and is going to essentially throw you under a bus. And I do sort of feel a bit bad for Aubameyang because I do think he was sort of the scapegoat to Arsenal. I do think Arteta really did try to pin it mostly on Aubameyang so that the rest of the team could be kept away from the whole saga that was going on. But do you think that obviously the relationship between Tuchel and Aubameyang is apparently very good from what Tuchel is saying? Do you think he's worth a punt? And as Russ said, for 10, 15 mil, for the money that Chelsea splash out on players, I mean, it's a lot less than what you splashed out on Lukaku, and he turned into a one season. So is it worth a punt on Aubameyang? Because I'm starting to think, who else is there? I mean, City have got Haaland. Nunez has gone to Liverpool. I mean, United are apparently looking at Vardy. I mean, I have nothing to say to that. I mean, he's 35 years old, for goodness sake. Would be in line with the United strikers of old, but, you know, Aubameyang, he surely for 15, 10 million, he's worth it, really.
I mean, if we're looking back at like the Dortmund day under Tuchel, Aubameyang was a very good player, and he seemed to work well with Tuchel's style. So I'm wondering if Tuchel can maybe bring it back. But I also like Arteta. It's his first time being a manager. He doesn't really know. He's still learning on the job. Yes, he's watched people do it, but actually watching people do it and actually doing it are two completely different things. But I think that why not? Why if we can get him for 10, 15 mil, what's the worst that can happen? Genuinely, what's the worst that can happen? He can either flop as hell, which we're probably all in our guts expecting, or he can turn up, bang in a few too many goals, and we could have a solution to our problem. We just need him at the back post. We just need him to slide in the ball. We just need him to be able to do something that we have been missing for a while now. in that box, we just need him there, and he knows what he's doing when he gets in the box. It's maybe Tuchel just bringing out that spark, because I feel like at Arsenal they treated him like a god, whereas at Chelsea, the fans are a little different. Like we've unfortunately had a little bit of a striker problem for a while now. So when Aubameyang comes, it's not going to be the excitement that he got when he comes to Arsenal. Yes, okay, signing, but for us, it wasn't like a signing for Cucurella. It wasn't like anything like that. For me, he's just a signing that might or might not cover us. He could turn up, he could not. And I think that'll be the little bit of like leveling down that he'll get, because we won't all like go on the ground and like be like, oh my God, it's Aubameyang. Like, we ain't going to be like that. It's literally, you're here to do a job, either do it or don't. We're not that bothered.
But I also, I do firmly believe that relationship with Tuchel is important, and I go back to that because if you're looking at other strikers, there are none really. They've pretty much all gone, and this is where you're going to need to really scout. And you don't have time for that crap anymore, I'm afraid. If you wanted to do the whole scouting thing, you should have done that at the start of the window when you had time. You don't have time to really scout. You're going to have to do that throughout the season and get ready for the summer. You do need a short-term fix. We were saying, I love Kai Havertz. I think he's a fantastic player. He's not a striker. And we can all agree with that. But Aubameyang, short-term, for 1, 2, maybe 3 seasons, Aubameyang can do it.
But I've said this. I said that, like, if Havertz is going to stay playing a 9, I don't want him at the club. And it's not because he needs to be playing in his OG position. If he's not going to play if he's not going to play there, then what is the point of having him? It's like, I mean, for me, like, Aubameyang is key, but also we need a midfielder. That's key. Because N'Golo Kante is going for a scan on his leg on Tuesday because it's that bad. It's going for a CT scan. So
like, as far as N'Golo Kante is finished as a footballer, as I predicted last night.
Jorginho's just slows the ball down. Kovacic, I'll keep. But we need someone else. We can't, we need someone with experience.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And ultimately, I actually think in a couple of years' time, that's where Mount needs to be. I do firmly believe that Mount, as he matures, needs to be put into that central midfield 3, because I don't think he's necessarily good enough to be in the front 3, but I also think he's very good as a central midfielder. And I think, I'm not about to compare him with Lampard, Jesus Christ, but there are some similarities. There are some elements and aspects, and I think that's why Frank loved Mason Mount, because he probably saw bits of him in him that ultimately makes a successful team. And I mean, it's an interesting one.
I think the reason that you see him getting played in a front 3 is the exact same reason that managers love him, and that is that he's a hard worker. He's not a moaner. You put him where you want to put him, and he'll try his best to do that job to the best of his abilities, and he works hard, and that's obviously we know for a fact the fan base is split. There's a lot of people out there who don't like Mason Mount, and personally I don't really understand it, but there's a reason that all these managers like him, and it's because he works hard. He doesn't complain, and like I say, you put him wherever you want and he'll do a job.
He is a good player. Look, I think I get frustrated at him with England, because I think Southgate actually does it for me, because I like Mount. I watch Mason Mount. I'm like, I actually like the kid. I think he's good at football. I think he's got a talent. He's not a 10. And for England, we keep putting him in that 10. And it makes me depressed, to be honest, because I'm like, we've got a cracking player there. We've also got Phil freaking Foden. And no disrespect to Mason Mount, but Phil Foden is much more of a 10 than Mason Mount. I mean, it just fills me with despair sometimes, because it just does frustrate me. Aubameyang will convert a lot of chances for Chelsea. I do think that he is proven goal scorer in the Premier League. I mean, that's not to be scoffed at. Pulisic is washed, according to Ravi. We may open lines in just a moment. We do need to keep this moving, but we will try and open the lines in a moment. Aubameyang could do well at Chelsea, and with Aubameyang, it gets best out of Sterling for sure. And it does make Chelsea very dangerous on the counter-attack with Aubameyang, Sterling, and let's say Kai Havertz or something like that. Need Payet homecoming, his set pieces. Yeah, he wasn't bad at a set piece, but with Chelsea, we do need to talk about the game, because I think we've spoken about everything but the game, which was nice. We've done it the opposite way to United, and we'll let RJ butt in a moment when we just have a quick roundup of the other games, which is when we'll let Velvin on the others if they are still there. But the game yesterday, how frustrating must it have been? And I think we can all probably sit here and say we've all been at our home stadium or watched our game on the TV, and we've just been sat there and we're just frustrated because the referee has yet again been a plonker. And that I'm using that language because I like to try and keep this as PG as possible. Trust me, I know all about dodgy referees. We seem to get them every week. But Charl, I'll just let you go in on this one because I know you're very opinionated about Anthony Taylor. Chelsea played very well. They dominated the game. We could talk about that. We could sit here say, Chelsea were amazing. We all know that. We all watched the game. And we can all sit here and also say Spurs had a game plan to frustrate you, and they did that bloody well. And you can definitely tell Spurs have got Conte's fingerprints all over them now because they are dirty. They're non-apologetic, and they're willing to have a fight. And I think that's everything that Spurs have never been. So you can definitely tell Conte's definitely got his fingerprints and his feet well under the table here. But he certainly was helped by a couple of decisions. Firstly, the first one. Do you think that should have been pulled back on a foul on Kai Havertz?
I mean, when I looked at it first, as you're looking at it from the straight on, it didn't look like it. But when you look at it front on, as if you're looking at Kai Havertz face on, yes, it does, because he goes straight through. Like there's no trying to pull your leg out. There's nothing. And yes, he got his tip of his foot on his ball, but he didn't try to pull out. He literally just carries on straight through. That's taking someone out. And for me, whether that's maybe not a card, but you bring it back. And maybe a yellow card. But it like you have the conversation with them like, that's not how you play football, hon. That's not how you it's not what happens. Like it just that really frustrated me because for me personally, both of those both missed opportunities led to goals. For me, that shouldn't have happened. The Havertz one led to a goal. And then you go on, and how, in God's name, Specsavers are not making money out of Anthony Taylor and VAR? How Cucurella's hair is dragged to the ground in the box, and it's not a red card by Romero. The frustration. I just want to quickly butt in here because I said yesterday in the group chat, and I wasn't really focused completely on your game, if I'm being honest. And I said, because Charl was having a go at the referee because they equalised. And I said, how are you blaming the referee? It's your defenders. I hadn't seen what obviously everyone else had seen because, as I said, I wasn't watching it that closely. It was sort of more background. But I then saw the videos and the pictures, and there's a former referee. That's violent conduct every day. But also, I just want to quickly go back to the Kai Havertz one, just quickly, because I want to chuck a caveat to it, which is basically the referees this season have been told by the Premier League to be a lot more sort of let more things go. They want them. Of course, they'll pull up risky fouls and stuff like that. But the referees have been told to let more go on.
you say that he got a bit of the ball. Would you not then say, if he's got a bit of the ball, with the way the referees have been told to operate this season, do you think that that is potentially why he's not pulled that back?
Okay, that's fine. I'll let that slide for now, because like my frustration is more on the Cucurella situation, because like as Niall said, I was bloody going off in the group chat. I had had enough. I wanted to grab my hand through the screen and shake Anthony Taylor and be like, "What is wrong with you, hun? Like genuinely, what is wrong with you?" Like, because one of my friends someone I know tweeted, "Can someone please explain to me how a hair pull isn't a violent contact and subsequently a red card?" Referee Mark Halsey replied and said a red card should have been shown for violent conduct. Like, if other referees are tweeting that this is the case, and how VAR, I'm sorry, I'm so confused at VAR right now, how VAR, when they looked back at it, saw nothing wrong with it. It's not even like he did it subtly. He literally, Romero doesn't care at all, just grabs it and drags, but it's the dragging down part as well. Like, he doesn't just pull his hair, he pulls him down. Like, that's not okay to me. And as far as I'm concerned, the petty Spurs fans going, "Oh, Chelsea fans are mad." No, hun, it's just a red card. Because if this has happened to Spurs, they'd literally be crying like little babies.
Hold on, but you would. Hold on, and to chuck that the other way, if it was the other way round, Charl, you wouldn't be acting like this. You'd be like, "Wasn't a foul. That's clearly not a red card. You're clearly lying."
No. But when it comes to something like that, you have to acknowledge something. Like, for me, there are always going to be ways that you announce to people, like, obviously if it's a red card, it's a red card. Like, it's a clear and obvious area. You're going to stand up and be like, that's not right. Like, I would never, if my team did that, I would never justify pulling someone's hair, because that's not okay. That's not how we play football. Like, it's not what needs to be done. And I think for me, it's just very frustrating, like, especially when it's Anthony Taylor, especially when it's the same referee making the same decisions against your team season after season after season. And it gets to a point, like, I saw this, that there is actually a petition for Anthony Taylor to be gone as a referee. Can
I just say we need to stop with we need to stop with these stupid petitions, because they actually need to then be debated in Parliament. And to be completely honest, and we're not about to turn this political, they have got much more to be doing in the Houses of Parliament than debating if Anthony Taylor should referee a Chelsea game. But let's just go through some of the comments. But I also just need to confirm that what Lee put was his own words, and we do not think that. Charl might actually, but basically Lee's just claiming that Anthony Taylor got £250,000 or £225,000 from an unknown business.
No, I don't believe any like, I'm not believing that. But my problem is when you have one. I mean, I'm trying to be. Apparently, I don't believe in. I'm not cool.
Let me just chuck in another 5 pence worth here. Apparently, according to Mark Halsey, actually, that he said that pretty much every Premier League referee and the FA and the Premier League should be up in court for match fixing.
Yeah.
So just got that.
Can I just say quickly? I tweeted Mark Halsey today and asked him if these quotes were fake. And he responded to me saying, totally fake.
Oh, are they?
I got a response from Mark Halsey himself today to say that those quotes...
To be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if it was real.
I think the problem I have is that we have a referee that goes back quite a few seasons now with the same outcome. We're looking at the Reece James handball. We're looking at the Maguire making tackles. Like, these are things that have happened to us. Oh, RJ, it's so funny for you, isn't it? I
To
really
be fair,
No,
that
no,
Reece James handball was definitely.
I mean, RJ,
No, that was a handball. I'm just laughing at like when Harry Maguire just like.
I mean, you can
blatantly
laugh at that all you want, but let's talk
can't.
about that. I hope you get Anthony Taylor in your next match against Man City
Well,
or
yeah, but
Liverpool.
Anthony
like
Taylor
him.
doesn't
because he
really.
was born in Manchester.
Do you know what?
Anthony
You know
Taylor
what?
actually.
My problem-
United fans would probably be quite
Yeah.
happy at that. To be fair.
My problem is with this situation, and Tuchel makes a very good point. No, I don't condone violence, whatever. But I get Tuchel's frustration to the point where it was frustrated. Like, if Chelsea fans are frustrated, then I get why he's frustrated. But Tuchel said it quite nicely. I can't go to the Leeds game, but he can still referee next game. And it's true. So there's no punishment for making such a
FYI,
bad
he is
decision.
definitely going to get fined for that. By the way.
But
No,
I know,
Jurgen Klopp
but
didn't get a
Chelsea,
ban, did he, for
I
his
know.
comments against
No,
Portsmouth?
but he definitely will get fined for sure.
So
100%.
Tuchel
No, he probably
and
will get banned as well because
Tuchel-
he's not Jurgen Klopp and we're Chelsea Football Club. So,
but hold on, Russ. So Tuchel and Conte have been charged.
Yeah, I saw that.
But Chelsea aren't actually doing any legal action on Anthony Taylor until the independent board have investigated. And depending on that outcome is whether we take legal action against Anthony Taylor. And if I'm honest, it's a real clear-cut case while I say that.
I really, if I was Chelsea, and as much as you're probably not going to like the comments I come out with, I would just not do that at all. Because you start trying to take but no, 1 second. You start trying to take the Premier League to court because of one of their referees. Watch them fuck you right over. Like genuinely, if you want to make sure, if you want to make sure you're guaranteed not to get top 4 for at least the next millennium, take Anthony Taylor to court. Trust me.
No, but I'm not saying what's right or wrong. It's just what Chelsea are doing. I don't agree. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. It's just what Chelsea have released a statement saying they're doing.
Let's
as a referee, what would you do to get rid of Anthony Taylor? Like, what is the solution?
It's not about getting rid of Anthony Taylor. I mean, I've said all of these referees are dog shit for years. It's something I've said. I don't think any of them are any good. I actually think quality of referees has dropped dramatically. And you know, people laugh, but Mark Howard was a fantastic. Howard Webb was a fantastic referee. You know, Martin Atkinson wasn't too bad. Mark Clattenburg. These were all fantastic referees who represented England at World Cup finals, at Champions League finals, in Euros, and all of these. Howard Webb was still a very good referee. I know he was quite biased to United, but to be frankly honest, if I'm being completely honest, if I'm stood in the middle of Old Trafford and I got the Stretford end screaming at me, that does influence you. And I know people be like, no, it doesn't. As a referee, you can get influence for sure. You know, I've had it myself when I was refereeing and players would be screaming and I would give a free kick based on their reaction sometimes because their reaction was so loud and so it looked as if they actually have been fouled. And I'm not saying that's right, but I am saying that we are human. I'm talking as a former referee, but we as referees, we can be influenced and we are human. But this is where VAR needs to step in.
Precisely.
And my issue
right?
is VAR isn't doing
at the games you're refereeing. We're in the biggest league in the world.
Yeah.
You can't afford to have such poor quality of refereeing and officiating in the biggest. This is the biggest league in the world. This is representing football. This is the standard. This is the highest standard of football in the world. So
especially when you've got VAR,
the highest standard of referees. And like you say, yes, they're human and they're allowed to make mistakes. But what's the point in VAR? What is the point in VAR if it doesn't intervene and correct those mistakes? How? In what universe can two referees watch an incident where a player is pulled to the ground by his hair and just go, do you know what? Carry on. Not a problem for us. You know, he's stood 6 foot away from it and watched it. He was fine with it. I've just watched it back on a replay 4 times and I don't really care either. So you guys just carry on with your game. You know,
for me with VAR, I want
and pulled him to the ground. And
for me,
VAR still not intervene. What do you need to do in this league to get VAR to intervene?
Does someone need to be unconscious?
Spit in the referee's face for
for
VAR
me,
to actually do something.
I think what we need from VAR, and this is turning more into referees, but is I want to see the referee brought to the monitor more. I really do, because I do think, and I firmly understand what the Premier League is saying, that there should be one referee, and that referee should be refereeing the game. And I do not agree with someone in VAR. If I was a referee in the Premier League, right, and I've made a decision, I would not be happy someone in VAR overturning my decision without giving me the opportunity to have a look at it myself. Because if I've made an error, I will look at that and go, okay, I see that, and I don't want any talking. I want nothing.
Works, isn't it?
I want nothing being. So if I'm in the middle of the pitch and I'm being brought to the VAR monitor, I do not want that VAR telling me a thing. I don't want him influencing my decision in any way whatsoever. He should be completely silent.
No, but the whole point of that is that he's there to tell you something that you might not have seen.
No,
he's another referee, and he's not there to be a biased with it. He's there to say, right, here's what I saw, and here is why I think you should have another look at it.
It shouldn't even be that.
But the on-field referee gets the final say, does he not?
He shouldn't even say, this is why I think you should look at it. He should say, I've seen something that I think you might have missed. Can you go to a monitor and check this, please? Here's the clip. And that's all they don't need to go into the whole detail of, this is what I think I've seen and this is why I think you should look at it. It should literally be, this is I think you may have missed something, and I think you need to have a look at it on the monitor, have a look at it, see what you think. That's what I think they should be saying. Because ultimately,
I think we've had this conversation now quite a few times regarding the fact that they need specific training just on VAR, and actually they need to. RJ, you talk. But I don't want to see his face, please, RJ. Like, I'm trying to not swear on this channel, like, and you're making it very, very, very hard. Like, at least put Conte or something. But I think we've had this conversation so many times now about the training, and actually the fact that VAR needs to be so much more consistent. With its training, I believe that they should get retrained every season. Before the season starts, they should be retrained. And if they
are trained all year round. I mean,
no. What I'm saying is actually having
honestly, no. Trust me, they are literally. These referees are. It's run like a Premier League football club. They're put through their fitness tests. They sit around all week discussing decisions. They are being trained. It's the quality of training that I have an issue with. They are being trained.
That's what I'm saying. They need to like a week before the Premier League starts, they need to go away for like a 5-day course where the training is better. The training is.
No, I completely. This should be throughout the season. This shouldn't be just before the start of the season. They should be reviewing these decisions, and they should be.
The 5-day course should be.
No, they don't need a. They don't need a. And I am going to swear now. No, 1 minute. I am going to swear now. They don't need a fucking 5-day course. This isn't Greg's, and this isn't KFC where you're sitting in front of a computer to do your fucking online learning. They do not need that. What they continuously need to do is to be reviewing these decisions as a group. They need to be sat around a table looking at these decisions and getting the impact and the input from everyone, former referees, current referees, players, managers, whoever. Get some more representation in there, and actually that's what they need to be doing. They need to be reviewing these decisions and making sure that a lot of it is actually consistent throughout. They don't need a 5-day course. They don't need to be, mollycoddled and sent over to somewhere to have a look at what they need.
Maybe
Anthony Taylor has been very consistent. Anthony Taylor has been very consistent. He has consistently fucked us for years. How can this guy still be put in charge of important games for us every single season? This is the same man. This is the same man who watched Michy Batshuayi get kicked in his baby maker and said, no, that's fine. you know what? It's football. This is the same man who watched Azpilicueta get put in a fucking headlock and dragged to the floor and said, don't worry about it. This is the same man who sent off Mateo Kovacic in a cup final for having his foot trod on. Like, I mean, you know, how long does this happen?
Russ,
this is the same guy who tried to give Spurs a free kick because Gazaniga decided to pull out a WWE move on Marcus Alonso. The guy jumped in the air and put a flying kick into our player's chest. And he said, you know what? That's a free kick for Spurs. This is the same guy who booked Cesc Fabregas for diving when he was fouled. This is the same guy who booked Willian for diving when he was fouled. This is the same guy who let Alexis Sanchez catch the fucking ball out of the air, put it down in front of him and score a goal. How can this guy keep refereeing our games?
You know what?
He's the same guy who didn't want to send Son off for the challenge on Rudiger. Like, it just the list goes on and on and on. This is the same guy who watched Dele Alli two-legged tackle one of our players around his waist and let him stay on the fucking football pitch.
This is Russ has literally just set off my PTSD of Anthony Taylor right now by listing that all again.
Either Ross has got one of the greatest memories known to human.
How do you not forget these?
One minute. He's either got the greatest. I don't know. I mean, I tried. I think for Argyle, I tried to forget most things that happened to us. But
it also helps that I spent hours ranting on my Twitter about this man last night.
That is true. I was just about to say how much prep has Russ done in for the show. I mean, I've done very little, but I'm used to that.
This is just pent up from last night. I tried to release all this anger on Twitter, but it's still clearly here.
Are we still on about Chelsea? No one cares about Tuchel's way but we will put a link in the chat.
We'll move on to your draws soon.
Yeah, we can talk about your red card in a minute. Don't worry.
I will put the link in the chat. So if anyone does want to come in, obviously the regulars I'll just let in. If you are new, flash your camera on so I can actually see you. You're human and not a bot, or God knows what you're going to do.
This.
So, yes, if you're a regular, I will just let you in, of course. If you're not, just flash your camera. Let me know it's actually you. Because if you don't, I'm not going to let you in. Simple as that.
Well, I will say about
I've also learned very well there. So if you see I learn from these issues. But RJ, you want to just quickly briefly?
Yeah. So just about the referees, obviously, Anthony Taylor for knighthood, of course. Obviously, I'm backing that. No. So I think one thing that definitely needs to be done about, football in general, especially about refereeing, all that crack, is kind of just like what's the communication between the referee and fans, because there's no simple explanation on what the foul is given for, essentially. Sometimes.
I have said for years that they should be mic'd up, and that should be.
Rugby, every referee is mic'd up. You can hear him. You can hear what the VAR or the whatever Hawkeye, whatever the thing that's called. You can hear what they're saying, and you can actually understand. All right, they're giving a foul on this, and they do go back if they're making a mistake. They'll say, "Right, I made a mistake here," and that's why they're so respected in the game, because if you mess with them, you're off. That's simple as that.
Yeah.
Like I say,
and if they do that, you won't need amateurs like me trying to second guess what these referees are actually thinking. And there's a really good Twitter account if you're actually interested in referees and getting a referee's sort of point of view. There's a really good Twitter account. I cannot remember his Twitter account, but he's always popping up with stuff. If someone knows who it is, put that in the chat, because he's just fantastic, and a lot of the time he'll explain why certain decisions are being made. And when I used to do the refs watch or refs view, whatever I called it, I actually got a lot of I used his sort of tweets a lot to base not my views. I have my own views, but to base what I was going to talk about. It's a fantastic Twitter account. So if you're interested in referees and refereeing decisions, I will in fact now try and find his Twitter, because he's genuinely really good. What's it called? There we go. He's at Poor EPL Referees. So I will put that in the group in the chat in a moment. He's really good. But yeah, it truly is. I mean, it truly is. But before we go to Charl, obviously we had a game on tonight, and I'm sure we all know the how that went. But Velvishwan, you've played Fulham and Crystal Palace. You've got a total of 2 points. I don't even think you're in the top 10 yet. City have guaranteed to win the title this season, so the title race is over. The title race is over by game 2, and you're telling me this isn't a farmers' league. You know,
also,
I
just
mean,
a quick question for Val: where the hell are you?
It looks like he's got a gas station or something.
That's what I thought as well. Yeah, I thought he was got a gas station.
That's how it's like. It's like
That was just in the middle of nowhere. He's just like trying to call help, and we're just making fun of where he's
middle
at.
of a desert or something, being like, guys, send help.
Do you think he's broadcasting from inside his local shell garage?
He's also muted. So you can't really hear him. But Vel,
I didn't know. Is the best.
Talk about the Liverpool game, because you know 2 points out of 2. I mean, from a team that's the closest challengers to Liverpool. I mean, you've as a neutral to a Premier League, you've ruined my season. That's all I'll say to that. I'm now hoping that the top 4 race is decent and the relegation battle's juicy. That's my only hope for a decent season. But Carlo having a good season. Well, hopefully we'll have a good season this season. So that will keep me entertained.
Well.
But Velv, you're not doing so well. Do you want to start with the red card? Yeah, I think he's frozen.
He's gone.
It's all right. I can help you with this one.
No, he's dead. Right, red card Nunes. Start with that one.
What was
There's so many things. I'll first start with Nunes and I'll go into Klopp after that. Honestly, Nunes, what an idiot. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I know, like, I'm still backing you. I still believe you'll do well in the league. But come on, man, that was so easy. You fell for the bait, man. Like, Anderson knew what he's doing, pushed you, and then you retaliate, man. It was not good. Like, it's just all perfect for Anderson, because obviously Nunes before that had, I would say, 2 opportunities where he should have scored. And obviously he's a bit frustrated with that, and then obviously took his anger out on Anderson. Like, I mean, if you want to stay on the pitch, just pull his hair. Like, just pull his hair. You don't need to headbutt. Just pull the hair down, innit? Then you can most likely stay on the pitch. But no, honestly, idiot. As soon as he done that, I was like, yeah, he's getting sent off. You did it in front of the ref, so you're getting sent off. But that's not really the talking point. Like, I think
that's a fairly big talking point. But you are right.
It's
we have boxed that one.
big point.
We have boxed that one fairly well. But Jurgen Klopp, you know, he's the second best manager in the league statistically. If we're talking about current managers, Pep the best, he's won the most. Klopp, statistically, I'd put him second, probably Tuchel third. Statistically, a second best manager in the league. But right now, what's the problems? Because I'm seeing Nat Phillips in your starting 11 today. I'm a little confused by that.
What excuse use tonight? I'm interested in what excuse he's going to use tonight.
Just that I fucked his mother or something. I don't know. Like,
Is it the
But Jurgen Klopp, talk about Jurgen, because we are going to have to wrap up fairly soon. But talk about Jurgen quickly.
I'm sorry, like, Klopp, I love you, man. Like, I love you, man. You're a legend of this club, but I'm sorry. Like, we're in 2022 and you're starting Nat Phillips and James Milner in the game. Like, come on, man. Yeah, let's be real.
Yeah.
Like, we have Gomez on the bench. Like, Gomez is the perfect player to play against Wilfred Zaha and the attack. And you decide to go in Nat Phillips, taking the forward game. Gomez has a not. If Gomez has a not, then why is he on the bench to begin with? Like, if he's on the bench and he's fit to play, so you play him. Second of all, James Milner. Why is he starting James Milner when you have Naby Keita, Carvalho, even though he has to play midfield? Carvalho.
I'd have given Fabio a chance if I were Klopp. I'd have given Fabio a chance.
For me, it's more Keita, because Keita, literally, what we missed in Fulham was ball retention. And Keita is the best in their team in ball retention.
Curtis Jones. I'd argue Curtis Jones is
injured, so like,
but
he's all injured. Jesus, that's fucking comfortable.
In terms of ball retention, Curtis Jones is also pretty decent at it.
Yeah, but like, statistically, Keita is the best at it, and then you still start Milner in the game. It's even last game. Why are you starting Henderson? Like, and like it's not good, and it's so obvious we need a midfielder. I'm sick and tired. I'm sick of tired losing to
that's
City
such
by
a
1 point just
shame.
because of midfielder. Like it's so. I'm sorry, like stop now.
I'm sorry, is
Like,
Vel wanting sympathy? Because we
I
have no
apologize.
sympathy
First
here
of
for you, hon.
I
Absolutely
think-
no
I
sympathy for
think-
you
all,
at all.
Manchester United will beat Liverpool next Monday because if Man U lose the United, I don't think they'll sack. I don't think they'll sack Ten Hag after that.
I
Hudson
mean-
Odoi apparently could go new. I could actually see that one happening. To be fair,
Yeah, I can
He,
see that.
he is reportedly having a medical for a loan spell. Nothing for 40 million, but I know he's got a loan deal signed up for Newcastle.
Wouldn't surprise me if they manage to sort of get 40
Right.
mil for
Can
it.
we please get back, as Russ says, Klopp out. Can we please get back to the fact that can we ask you what Darwin was doing when he decided to sorry, but I'm not gonna lie, Crystal Palace, great job at provoking the shit out of Darwin. Absolutely
You've literally just hit the nail on the head. What they've done is they've provoked a young lad who's new to the league. The young lad has lashed out, and look, I don't think Jurgen will hold it against him. I think Jurgen will speak to him and will be like, look, you just can't do that shit. You've got to have some self-control. You've got to control yourself a bit. Look, he's just lost his head a bit. I'm sure we've all been in a situation where we've all, at some point nearly lost it. And I know I sure as hell have, especially on the pitch. And look, he's just lost it. It's a moment of madness. And unfortunately, a moment of madness with about 30,000.
He's still young.
How many? About 52,000 at Anfield plus the 30 cameras that are pointing at you. You're going to get caught if you're going to headbutt someone. 20 years ago, you probably don't get caught, but nowadays, unfortunately, you get caught. It's just a moment of madness, isn't it?
The referee was shocking as well. I'm sorry, Nunes deserved to be sent off, but there's so many Palace players didn't even get bookings. You got Anderson going on screw Anderson.
Joel Ward, Edward, and Guaita all got booked.
Yeah, but they'll book later on. But they should have been booked earlier on.
Joel Ward booked at the 68th minute. Okay, Edward and Guaita were late. Anderson got booked in the 57th minute. Okay, yeah, maybe. You didn't even get that many bookings. I mean, you got Simicast and the Diaz. Oh yeah.
Here's the thing. Obviously, the midfielders. Here's the thing. There's so many midfielders out there to get. I'm seeing reports yesterday. Houssam Aouar is going to Nottingham Forest for 15 mil. That's the midfield.
You just got a bit quiet there, Vel. But I think we get the gist of it. That Houssam Aouar would do a very good job at Liverpool. I'm sure he would also do a good job at United.
It's any midfielder. I'll take Granit Xhaka. Honestly, I'm taking Granit Xhaka over Henderson. I'm taking it. I don't care.
This is called desperation from Liverpool if they want Granit Xhaka.
In terms of this comment, I don't think.
I just want someone to stay fit. I want him to be available. And we look good. And I'm sorry, our midfielder can't do that.
I remember the shit I got from Liverpool fans a year ago when I said that Henderson was not good enough anymore for your midfield. And I was told he was, fucking amazing. Henderson's this, Henderson's that.
I remember this.
And now look.
I saw a bit of this on Twitter and that from other Chelsea fans as well.
And then another midfielder, by the way, who's just been picked up. Wolves are now closing in on Mateus Nunes for about 38 million.
Do you think that might? I'm gonna throw a caveat there. Do you think that might be because Neves might end up going to either United or Chelsea? Just as a thought. Both of you need a central midfielder. Only one of you can get De Jong. Can you see it where if one of you get De Jong, the other one maybe go in for a late push on Neves?
I don't see him coming to us purely because we have been linked with every single available footballer on the market this summer.
Same here.
And he hasn't been one of them.
Yeah. Do you know what? And I can see that happening. I can see Frankie de Jong joining United. I don't know why he would do that, but I can see that happening. And I can see Neves
We're not getting a midfielder. Like Klopp has said.
Oh no, we
we've established that.
We weren't even considering that Liverpool were going to sign a midfielder. Don't worry
You're
about
getting
that.
Bellingham, aren't you?
We were just talking about Liverpool.
We might as well need to get a striker because we have no striker for next week against Man United.
Well, to be fair, Klopp could. Well, if you've got no striker, you might as well just. You've got youth options. You just can't.
Hold on. What's wrong with Firmino? Is he injured?
I think he's injured because he wasn't even on the bench.
Okay, well, why don't you just go for a front?
It's not. They've still got no striker. Let's be honest.
Either try one of the youth strikers or go for a false 9.
Well, no, you don't even need to do that. I mean,
Charl, our academy is the worst academy out of the top 6.
Just gonna say, you do have Mohamed Salah. Like, hello, man.
We played him in number 9 and we played football with him. Like, who's the ball off to him?
Can I ask a question about Mohamed Salah?
I wouldn't fucking suggest playing hoofball with Mohamed Salah.
Just a quick question. You know that huge opportunity where he didn't know what the back of the net was? Like, how did you feel about that? I just wanted to ask about that,
Wait, which one?
Just, the big, really opportunity where he was supposed to get it in the back of the net. He just went right to the left of the goal and didn't even get it in the goal or hit the goal.
The Nunes one.
I mean, Mo Salah. I'm just wondering, like, what's going on there? He was in the box. Mo Salah. He was in the box, and he took a shot, and it just went straight past the goal. So I'm just wondering your thoughts on that. That, like, you're talking about you're having Mo Salah, but
hold up a fucking minute. Like, sometimes I just wonder with football fans because the common sense seems to be lacking. Are you telling me that you just go criticise Salah for missing the target? I've seen Ronaldo, I've seen Messi, I've seen Lewandowski. All missed the target. Are we seriously just gonna? Are we seriously just?
It's not Niall. I'm just talking about winding up Velv. So just let me continue. This man, Velv comes at us every single time that Chelsea mess up. That Chelsea don't do anything. The man's got Chelsea on his brain 24/7. So when Mohamed Salah misses something, whatever else I think of Salah, and I think he's great and all, but when he misses something that could have given him 3 points, Vel, them 3 points that you don't have this season yet at all, just say
Melbourne Swans don't take the L this week.
Take the L. He just needs to maybe against Manchester United you'll get 3 points, but I mean.
You might score for 1-0 against you.
I am RJ. I am clipping that and putting that all over Twitter. I did you a favour and didn't put the whole St James's gaff on Twitter, but that one is definitely going on Twitter, mate.
Can I just clarify?
Under pressure.
Just want to clarify exactly what I just heard. RJ, did you just say no? They won't.
No, I was joking. We probably won't lose. Let's be real. Luke Shaw's going to get turned into a burrito in that game.
Do you know what? That was absolutely fantastic.
I forgot how much fun these streams were. I forgot how fun they were.
I forgot how delusional RJ was.
Lee really is chucking in the is chucking in the conspiracies tonight. Most people are asleep and can't see what's going on.
Chucking in the Luke Shaw card.
I'm tired of that.
Shall I like you guys? Shall I have score goals and your boy Loftus Cheeks get out? Do you know what I
have Sterling arching onto players.
The one thing I won't allow is Kai Havertz slander. I think he's a fantastic. I just won't allow.
No. We need to speak of this. He's a flop now.
Hold up a minute. Hold up. Shout, shush. Velv, if you want to go down that route, I'm more than happy to talk about a Champions League final last season. If you want to talk about that,
absolutely more happy to talk about.
More than happy to go in depth in some defending for some of those goals. We can talk about Trent if you want.
I actually need to talk about Trent.
Don't start dissing the best right back in the world, Niall.
No.
Yes, steady on.
No. I'll be real.
There's a reason they won the Champions League last season.
Yeah, because Trent can't clip him, watch his back post. Like he's done it again in the first game of Fulham, and he's done it again.
Look, I think it's fairly simple. Do I think Liverpool's going to get top 4? Yes. Do I think there's a title race this season? No.
Aaron, 1 minute. I just want to hear Val keep admitting that Trent is
keep
not
digging
good.
himself.
I just want to drink this in.
Yeah, please.
Slander Trent some more, please. Please carry on. Carry on with what you were saying.
I don't want to disturb the people. Let me go to a more open space.
Whilst Velvishwan makes his way to God knows where,
Okay.
Alan,
It looks like that's a
Here's the thing.
hotel.
Look, I still believe Trent is the best right back in football. The same thing he hasn't learned is watching your back post. I'm sorry. In the Champions League
how
final,
can he be the best right back in the world?
Because not every defense.
Just gone. He's the best right back in the world. He can't protect the back post. Do you see?
Yeah, but that's like one
with that crossover.
Actually, logically, he still can be the best right back in the world and not watch his back post because the standard of right backs recently is just shite. I mean, you know, I'm looking at right backs. I'm like Trent, Reece James, and then I'm like,
who else?
Okay,
this is the thing.
And then I'm really scraping the fucking barrel trying to find a decent right back. You know, like
every fullback has their deficiencies.
I mean, Man United are chasing Aaron and Walker Peters. So what's that going to show?
Not anymore.
Because you can argue that Reece James sometimes, position-wise, defensively, he's not that great. And you can argue that with Cancelo, he always gets beaten in a one-on-one situation. Like, not every fullback is perfect. They just have these one deficiencies that they're not learning. Trent needs to step up.
Lee says we need to we need to buy that Italian footballer from Inter Milan, the midfielder who is under 20.
Nicola Barella. Barella is the one I want. Is him or Milinkovic-Savic?
Nico Barella is not under 20. I can tell you that for a fact.
No, he's 25. He's 25.
He's like 22, something like that.
Ravi says tell them again. Jay says, "Oh my god, the channel is back soon. World Cup England will get knocked out."
Clarify, if you had your notifications on for this channel, you would know that the channel's back. Just saying. So maybe turn your notifications on for you to actually know that the channel is back.
Also, whilst you're at it,
Kante's decline.
Whilst you two both shut up. Whilst you're at it, also hit the subscribe button and the like button.
I've got to go anyway now. Big up, yeah. I've got to go.
If you're not already subscribed with your channel, what are you actually doing?
Try not to insult any potential new subscribers, Charl. Like
no. I just said if you're not subscribed, what
Charl
are you doing?
is a very welcoming person, ladies and gentlemen.
I was just about to say because normally if they're not subscribed, they get some sort of.
No. I'm trying to be nice.
I don't think I can even repeat it nowadays as we're trying to be a bit more.
Did you not hear? I had a personality transplant.
I suppose I'm trying to be not like Terry Flewers and not lose my shit on camera for views. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that out loud. I didn't act like a petulant child. Well, you know, I am just going to say it, right? I've watched Argyle be owned by some of the worst owners on this planet who literally left the country and wouldn't answer their phone. Just be thankful your owners answer the phone. And at not one point did I, as a grown adult, right? And I must say this, as a grown adult with kids. I don't have kids, so I don't have that bit on me, but as a grown adult with kids and you're screaming into your camera, like I've nothing to say to that. I've nothing to say to that apart from that is clearly for clicks and clicks only. And we are going to wrap up, but Aaron, just give us just a quick thought, just very briefly, and then we'll wrap up very quickly.
Yeah, for me, I think Man U were embarrassing on Saturday. I think Brentford totally deserved the win. They ripped them apart. Great football. Utilised the wing play. They knew what the weaknesses were at United. You know, they cut inside really well on the attacks. They utilised the mistakes. They preyed on the weaknesses. Man U were a mess. You know, they make us look like Man City, which is saying something. I can take pot shots around club now because we're in League Two. But, you know, I think overall, Spurs look a really good threat for top 4 this year. They really have got a real jawed team together. Chelsea, don't get me wrong, going to be in top 4 as well. I think Arsenal could be within a shout, depending if Liverpool slip further. But I think this is probably one of Arsenal's best chances by a year to get back into the top 4 for me, especially with the talent they brought in this summer. Nottingham Forest for me are going to be a real surprise package this season. They've brought in a lot of great players and a lot of a bit of experience in there with like Lingard and Kouyaté, and it's going to be very, very tight.
We'll end it on that one. Kind of like that point. For the first time ever, we're going to end on a Charl point. He's actually made a point that isn't deluded. So congratulations.
I've learned.
Vel says also, Niall, I'm in X, so I'm going to a stadium to fight some people. Cool. I'm cool. I'm keen for that. I will say this. As much as I think Terry was acting like a petulant child, the fact that he got a hair transplant, if that makes him feel better and that helps him, then I'm all for that. And credit to him. He's doing something that he's trying to improve himself, and credit to him. I don't think you should be really commenting on if it doesn't look good or not. If it makes him feel better, then he should do it. And that's why I would, if I want to lose weight, I will lose weight because it makes me feel better. And we shouldn't really be judging people on such personal things. That I will absolutely say he acted like a petulant child in front of the camera, but I'll never criticize him on looks or that, because I'm the last person who can talk about that. Let's be honest. But we are going to wrap up. We have been going for almost 2 hours. We all knew deep down that this show would probably end quite well. We knew it would drag on because it's our first stream back, but we have got plenty of stuff. Before we just shout out our socials, RJ, just quickly shout out the content that you and Matt are going to be bringing to the channel. I think it's on Thursday, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, so originally it was on Wednesday, but Matt unfortunately was busy on Wednesday, so we were back on Thursday. We are doing MMA and boxing. Obviously, this weekend we have Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk. I think I said that right. And then we also have UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards. Maybe the belt's going back to the UK. So yeah, that is on Thursday. Haven't set a time yet, but we'll let you all know soon.
Yeah, and just let me know if you need a thumbnail sorting, or if you can sort out a thumbnail, because knows what I'll put on an MMA thumbnail. For fans.
Well, I'll probably throw one out, or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe speak to Russ very nicely. He's quite good with thumbnails, so you never know. He might do you a solid, RJ. But we are going to wrap it up there because it is almost 11 o'clock, and I don't know if my housemates are asleep. But you can find me on Twitter at Niall_PAFC if you want to see me slamming into Boris and the Conservatives. If you want to see some of my opinions on football, or just generally sort of having a go. And I will say that I put a tweet out earlier. This was this morning because obviously Graham Souness said that this is a man's game, and one of I think it was Emily Luca said that this sport is for men, women, boys and girls, and missed out transgender and non-binary. So you don't want to miss it out. So we're just gonna say that football is for everyone, no matter who you are or what you are. So there you go. I'm just going to end it on that bit for me. But Russ, where can they find you?
Just on Twitter, CFC Russ. Just here. You see this? You can go on there. You can find lots and lots of ranting about Anthony Taylor over the last 12 hours or so. Sometimes I will talk about other things, but generally just a lot of ranting.
Yeah. That's fair. Charl, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Charl_strong, and you can find me on my YouTube channel, hopefully getting back into that, Charl Strong TV. And you can also find me on here. And if you're not subscribed, what are you doing with your life? Just say it.
Charl's break on her channel was almost as long as our break on this channel.
It literally was. My break on my own channel has been longer than this channel.
Yeah, to be fair, that wouldn't surprise me. I think it was Russ that actually dragged me back in it, because if it wasn't for Russ, I don't think we would have ever returned. So a huge thanks to Russ, who's persevered and been very determined to get us all back. But Aaron, where can we find you, mate?
Aaron_Challoner on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, Aaron Challoner Official. We also got the CHALL on YouTube. It's been a really, I want to thank you guys actually quickly because it's been a really great year for me, and I couldn't have got to this point without being on streams with you, Niall, and with you, Charl, and RJ, and everyone else. So it's been a great year for me. I've got 2 top staff from 2 top European clubs this year coming on my show, so it's great news there. 2 Champions League clubs, and it's going to be really, really great year. And I'm officially going to become a sports journalist as well, an official Doncaster for Romano. So yeah, looking forward to that. And I'm much less deluded this time, so I'm really enjoying life right now. And yeah, much more resiliency this year, ever till I die.
So you've decided to go from the say ridiculous shit to try and get clicks to try and be a normal human. I appreciate it. Sorry, I really am. I feel like I've just decided to be KH no filter for 1 second, and I just seem to. I also seem to just
missed
be.
The no filter. I've missed the no filter because that's what created this sort of frenemy relationship.
I also seem to be name dropping all these Twitter accounts and all of these YouTube accounts.
Yeah, Niall, could we not, please? I also know all these people too.
Well, yeah, but KH no Phil and Andrew's there, and I quite like Andrew, so I don't mind. I don't mind shouting their channel out. RJ, quickly, where can we find you?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that. On by Jaguar. Also, big up to Russ up here for bringing us all back together like a big family. And you can find me big on Thursday. Me and obviously the Northern Irish lad will be back with them.
Hashtag bring back the EFL show.
I don't think that will ever happen. What? I don't even think the first episode.
I mean, if you all have the time, if me, you, and Charlie all have the time, I would bring it back.
Maybe let's end the stream and talk about that later.
Yeah, might be a shout, but on that note, guys, we are going to wrap it up. But thanks for watching, and we'll be back soon. Bye bye.